Okay, so we are going to be going gallery, ballroom, high rise. Oh, that's right. It doesn't have the one that goes down this next stretch. So the last two maps that aren't showing up there are actually the doubled maps, which are going to be gallery and ballroom, Modera, aquarium, high rise, and Tan. But we'll be floating into that later on.
Yes, indeed. So the full occlusion strategies from Turnout 8 with ballroom, aquarium, and Tayen. And Dell's actually the one picking slightly more standard venues, gallery, modern, and then high rise. A nice mix. So for those of you who are just coming into the tournament of position, this is the winner's side of the 1-1 bracket. Both of these players won their week 1 match, but lost their week 2. Turnout 8 being one of the ones coming down from gold. Unfortunately, their personal result is already locked into silver division, and they're just playing gatekeeper in this match. But for Dells, the stakes are quite high, as Dells could potentially rise as high as silver himself if he wins here and in week 4. A loss to Turnout 8 here, though, would put the pressure on Dells quite a bit. Dells would then have to win the week 4 match for a berth in copper, or go home empty-handed, essentially. But it looks like we've got the first game coming up here already, starting off on gallery, with Turnout spying first as our good friend Teal.
I'm really curious if we're going to go for an immediate bug, but the opportunity has left us. Then again, going for a bug that aggressive on gallery probably isn't that necessary. There's usually be enough opportunities for someone to get a better bug than that, but I never know with Turnout. Turnout has a reputation for being a pretty aggressive spy. Sometimes a little bit too aggressive, but sometimes so aggressive that they'll actually get multiple hardtails past you before you have any idea what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. Would you say Turnout spy side is the thing that he is noted for in gold? I hear a lot about right-clicking in the first 30 seconds being the style and at work there.
Very much so. And right now, because of just like us ending up next to the seduction target, I like what we're doing here. We don't hit the second green, so we're gonna have to come back at least once. But I like just we kind of got placed right next to our seduction target at the first entry point. So we're just collecting as much of that seduction as we can. I am not sure about waiting for the third one. It looks like we are going to. But we're going to have to do 3 missions. Okay, we are going to leave. Okay. Maybe just waiting for a little bit so that last talk has a bit of time to simmer. And we are just going to be heading into statues. We're putting our pieces in motion. We're still going to be thinking about what we want to do. Turnout is just staring at the ambassador, though. So we've got to imagine that Bug's going to be somewhere in there. Or maybe you're going to go for that fingerprint. And now another fingerprint's going to be left on the statue behind him. Possible finisher there later.
Very, very tempting here. If we are able to wait at this painting pad maybe a little longer than AI's would, we could get both the briefcase and the fingerprintable statue, but Turnout 8 opts not to go for it. We're getting a little bit of info for chat. If you want to turn down my volume just a tad, they're saying.
All right, well, I can turn it down a little bit, or I could boost myself.
Also, there was a print at the statue that Turnout actually went to, and we just did not take it. So that's interesting. I would have figured that we would definitely be knowing about that at least, but
it's one of the curses
the case.
Of being a player for a long enough amount of time is I still forget to check for fingerprints just proactively, just the good habit of it. I pretty much only get fingerprints when I've intended for them. Then again, we should have probably been watching Ambassador when we were going for seductions right at the beginning, because we had nothing else really going on, so that's a bit too bad. And that would have been a perfect finish later, too. We do go for the split. Let's see if it's a highlight or low light. It is a highlight.
It is a highlight. Dell's very much on top of this. I would have liked to see a bug on the Ambassador as we were walking out earlier, but didn't go for that. Didn't know that Dell's was zoomed in on the back. We are indeed stepping into this second statue with a fingerprint on it, though, but we missed the pad just a little bit, and it looks like the combination of the BB split, the fingerprintable statue, the inspect completion, and the missed pad all adds up to a shot. So Dell's starting out strong here with a 1-0 lead.
All right, well, that's like kind of comfortable shot. That's great to get to start at for Dells. because it means that not only was our suspicion level pretty high, but also the threat level of being at a fingerprintable location. Well, actually the second fingerprint location, because he had no idea that he didn't collect the first fingerprint. So that might have been a pretty comfortable shot, and so Dell's starting off pretty well right here.
So one of the benefits of casting other casters is that they'll actually give you secret information in Discord. Dell's is actually talking to me between the games saying, lucky shot, LOL, I had nothing, but seemed like it was a banana split and I knew that it was her second statue visit. And then I credit a fourth mission because there's a fingerprint there and why not? So yeah, just a combination of suspicion adding up there for Dells. Now we'll see what he can accomplish on the spies as Pearls.
All right, I'm apparently sounding a little electric, but hopefully that goes away soon. It's probably the key that I've given on Discord, so I might just change it.
It looked for a moment that our seduction target was going to pop into this conversation with us, but unfortunately she bounced all the way outside. Now we are standing at the back. This is a notable spot for the purloin if we wanted to go for that, but it looks like that is not the plan. Dels leaves the conversation with no mission progress as of yet.
All right, well, we're also a slow character, so the classic dichotomy on Gallery for a slow character is that you have to really choose your locations wisely, but you also have a lot of great bug attempts. There's a lot of times you can walk up next to Ambassador and get a good bug attempt off. The problem with that, though, is we actually have kind of a bad Ambassador for bugs. Walking bugs, that is, where they're going to be at the paintings. Not the biggest fan of the Ambassador choice in that one, but that doesn't really matter too much. If we get the good bug off, it's going to be a good bug.
Well, it's going to be a good flirt as well for 51% out in the front, and the contact as both the ST and double agent stay out here. Had a little bit of trouble coming into this pad, but it wasn't noticed. You can get away with murder in the front of Gallery sometimes.
Shaking our camera a little bit at Teal abandoning us, not quite wanting to chase. Also, Ambassador coming in, not at the perfect spot for a bug, but we could squeeze it for sure. Maybe if the tray goes down and there's a bit of suspicion, we think there might be a zoom in. It doesn't matter. The Ambassador's space was invaded when he came in, so that's not going to add up to much at all. I think we're going to be going for a time ad here.
Time ads, definitely a weapon in the Dell's arsenal. Oh, what is this? Wheels, what are you doing?
Almost coming. I think if Wheels had just come a little bit closer, we would have gone for that bug for sure. We race for the briefcase and lose. Also, because we did that, we actually didn't pick up that time ad, and we are actually starting to fall a little bit behind here, especially if we want to get inspects done.
Yeah, the seduction target also passing us as well, heading on outside. A lot of good opportunities that are just quite on the cusp there for Dells, but not quite coming together. So instead we go into statues as a fallback plan here.
Yeah, and actually we were pathing towards ST until we saw ST ditch the windows, and we immediately curved into statues, which was a great backup plan. Still, we need to get something else done, but at least we got progress on something for the final. We're kind of like setting up for the inspect swap, except we add time here. Big moment here. So one of the things.
The time ad.
One of the things about Gallery is that I actually find it to be one of the easier maps to catch if you're zoomed in during the time ad, because you're zoomed in more often than any other map that I can really think of. And when you're zoomed in, the color change at the end of a time ad, so like if you're in the last 50 seconds, the color change from red to green is a lot more apparent. I don't know, that's kind of like edge casing a little bit here, but that could be the difference.
Well, fortunately, it does seem that we've gotten away with the time ad, and we have managed to finish up our flirt with another fake redirect to go back outside. Now we're at 2.5 missions, and things are looking up. We could inspect swap for the win here if we wanted to.
We could indeed. Right now, the sniper laser positioning is showing that we care a little bit about it, but, you know, anything could happen. We also just fingerprinted right here, so we're probably just going to go for the last fingerprint. But we got a while to get that last fingerprint. We might just be going for it. Fingerprint to fingerprint's a bit risky. We're like hovering
risky.
Pretty hard.
Could have maybe waited a little bit longer, but we are in mission wing countdown. There's the shot.
Yeah. So Turnout was clearly a little bit torn about that shot. Did not want to take it immediately. Waited for a while after, and because like otherwise, if Turnout was sure, we would have taken the shot as soon as White went down to pick the briefcase. But clearly, so both players, I believe, a little bit torn, a little bit put to the edge as sniper, which is not fun for them, but very fun to watch.
Yes, indeed. I'm actually pretty impressed at how Dell salvaged that. His only comment after that match, Pearl's SLO did not like having to chase the seduction target back and forth as much as we did that game. But still 1-1.
Still 1-1. Hopefully I've saved it so that we got it going. And then we have Smallman. Okay, this is the game, man. This is the game. Hopefully.
This is the game. Here comes the cheese. Seduction target standing in the middle of this conversation circle with us. 32% because why not? Purloin, not the cheese we're looking for. At least not yet.
Yeah, so right now, we're starting off with the seduction target, but one of the problems is sometimes you can be a little bit nervous as small and kind of walk through the conversation circle there for no reason. Are we going for the fingerprint on the book or the briefcase?
This is the legendary double fingerprint with the book and briefcase right here. Unfortunately, Tex is going to steal the briefcase, but we're going to pick up a microfilm transfer as well. Just yank it out of the blue book here using the cover from Tex on the briefcase. Very nice play there. I think that was completely covered up, and we've got microfilm in pocket for free now at the harder shelf to do it as well.
One of the things that makes me a little bit nervous, though, is whenever I see, right now I'm zooming in on stream, whenever I see Smallman like this and that spot of the conversation circle, I almost want to shoot them anyway. They just, for some reason, Smallman, they just end up at that spot in conversation circles when they're spies.
Yes, indeed. I think we actually saw Turnout on his turn on the spy side taking the instant highlight on Smallman just because it's Smallman on Gap. And he does things like this. Microfilm transfer, it's a green test, but it doesn't have to be. You can't see Smallman at all behind all these people in the conversation there. And that's just a hard tell mission complete now.
So we're at transfer being done. We still need to pick up another fingerprint. The question is whether or not we're going to go in specs or not. Oh, we do go for the bug. It does not take, and the arm was a little bit visible coming out, and we are zoomed out when it happens. Now, a lot of interesting lighting going on. I was about to say I was a little bit nervous for Turnout, given the fact that sometimes snipers don't want to give away if they're especially suspicious of Smallman. They want to pretend like they haven't seen anything. But I think they will watch something else, and we do a time ad. One of the things that Smallman is equally easily to see, no matter where you are, on gallery at least.
Fastest time ad animation in the game. With Smallman, it's often not so much of a call as are you adding time, it's how many time ads will you do. We opt for just the one here, having already gotten away with the microfilm, probably assuming we don't need that much more. Bell's entirely zoomed in for the whole duration that Smallman's been outside here. I don't think he's really onto this time ad.
We're setting up for a contact, but unfortunately, oh, well, I mean, there goes that plan anyway. But the front conversation didn't have a DA in it, so it was gonna eliminate down to quite a few. Or if we assumed real, it was gonna be a big problem for us. So it looks like we're gonna go pick up some inspects instead. I don't actually remember if this is a fingerprintable statue or not.
I think it used to be, but there's no fingerprint here now. We are close to the briefcase, but once again, briefcase gets stolen out from under our heels. And we're just going to go in for some more. Oh, seduction target leaves as well. Everybody is just abandoning us here.
Very, very bad, ST. Well, I guess we're going to have to... And not only do they do that, they go and smudge the fingerprint as well. Seduction target causing nothing but problems for us at this moment, and then goes to a pad that we can't really do anything with. We're going to be faking and maybe going into Purloin right off the back of it. And, well, I'm shocked. I didn't actually think we had that game was that far away from us. Dells was under a bit more pressure than I had assumed. There was some weird lighting going on when Smallman was coming through and doing the bug that caused Dells not to catch the bug. So there must have been something else going on. I'm kind of hoping he messages you, but he might be in the game mode right now.
Yeah, Dell says that Salmon had picked up 2 statue visits there, and that's all he needed. I'm just tired, LOL. Didn't even realize the DA split until a quick check on the replay.
Wow. Well, we're jumping into the next game, and that's going to be a bit of a bummer for Dells. Also showing a little bit of possible nerves here, but we're going in the opposite direction of Smallman, going for Orange Dress, the slow character, the apparent character, but can do some fun things with Bug.
Just as a reminder, the way the tournament of position works is essentially the higher seed gets a free win to start us out here. Turnout8 needs 8 games to win the set. Dells needs 9. And here's a good way to get a game is doing the old banana bread while you picked up the briefcase.
All right, well, and we might even just go shelf to shelf. Oh, no, not quite. Not quite that bold. And we are going to be looking at our ST a little bit. It's going to be hard to fit in that conversation circle, so we might go launder this book out into the street. We do have lowlights on everybody outside from that banana bread.
Yeah, it looks like Turnout picking up the assumed real on that BB, taking quite a few lowlights from down to about half the party at this point. But we did get a real contact and some cover on this book along with our fingerprint. Now picking up 37% on cross conversation green flirt.
All right, well, we had to get something done with flirt, so we're running to about 2 minutes right now. We need to pick up the rest of seduction at some point. We got to do something with this book. Are we going to be dumping it or not? Oh, good. So seduction target happens to go back to green bookshelf for the second time. Also, I'm kind of surprised by that. So we are able to get something done with this book by making an excuse to be going to the bookshelf with our seduction target. So that lines up pretty well. We still need to be looking for what our second fingerprint's going to be. Given the fact that we got away with the first one, it might be nice to finish with the fingerprint because Turnout might assume that it was the first.
Yeah, looks like no microfilm action this game. We're going to be stepping into these statues, once again eyeing up the briefcase that is close to us, but for sure somebody else is going to pick it up. Oh, there's a fingerprint on this statue, though.
Interesting, and I
That's
also
just a
think,
finish.
yeah, I think that Turnout is actually pretty aware of this. It's either, well, I guess he has not been highlighting all statue visitors, and so my assumption is that they know the fingerprints there because that wasn't a statue finish. Oh, and this is gonna be especially tempting for a shot immediately. As far as Turnout knows, he could be done crediting Seduce. So we'll see if there's just a shot that comes off here. If the shot doesn't come off here, it's gonna be pretty hard. Okay, well, this is all going to come down to how suspicious this last flirt is. We really want our ST to stay in there. We don't have to set up right next to them, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of space.
I think we're good. That's a fast talk,
Oh,
though.
no, it is a bit
zooming
fast.
in.
And there it is. The aggression from Turnout as Sniper has been paying off well. Not something he's known as being as aggressive for, but 2 aggressive shots and also an aggressive assumption on the BB lines that all up, giving us enough confidence to take the shot.
Yeah, I think since we didn't get shot for the statues there, and flirt could potentially have been done, unless Turnout is like an absolute master of flirt pairing, that it comes down to the fast talk, I think.
I believe so. I can't really think of anything else that it would have been. I think we were a little bit tempted to take the shot initially, but one of the things is snipers maybe just have an intuitive feeling for the fact that if we're spy and we've gotten away with a banana bread, fingerprints, and inspects, and we haven't done our seduction yet because we haven't like gotten credit, we're a little bit antsy. We really want to get that done. We want to just get it out there. We feel like we're in the home clear. Turnout picks up on it, either seeing an etiquette break or just making a behavioral assumption. Who knows? But right now he's up 3-1. And as you mentioned before, starts with the advantage where if it goes to 8 games, it's over.
Yes, indeed. I think Dell's reporting that he stop talked after that flirt as well, maybe adding on to the suspicion there at the end. Now we're moving into ballroom. Score is 3-1 Turnout's favor. But Ballroom definitely a map where spies can get something done, known as a pure 50-50 between spies and snipers usually.
Indeed, and also I'm very curious. I'm not sure. Do you know anything about Dells in this map? I know that Turnout likes this map, has been playing it for years.
I think Dells likes this map, or is at the very least neutral on it, doesn't feel uncomfortable on it. Has certainly played a lot of games here, some of them even blindfolded.
That's right.
That's been a fad lately.
That has been a fad, and I've really enjoyed seeing that. And I wonder actually if that gives you a bit of confidence. Also, I think that it's going to open up some interesting areas as far as like learning the map space, like the back of your hand. Well, we'll see if it comes into play at all here. Unfortunately, Dells as the sniper right now is not going to be able to use some of the pathing hardtails that might be involved with Blindfolded Spy Party. And slow start from Turnout so far. Oh, no, let me take that back. I didn't even notice the fingerprint on the drink.
It's a fingerprintable drink. Dells has said tracking fingerprints is one of his weaknesses that he has really tried hard to work on improving for his place in the Tower of Power Tournament of Position. The truckload of pistachios here. So does he know about this fingerprint on the drink? The entire game here could hinge on that decision, whether or not it's tracked.
Well, we're trying to figure out a way to get into that conversation circle with the ST. It looks like ST's gonna come up to us. No, not quite. Gets bounced around a little bit. We would love to just join them in that pad over there. It's gonna be a bit aggressive. Oh, but we have a bug path into there as well. This could be a big moment right here. Yeah, he's gonna go for it. He can't help but do that bug, and it's invisible as far as I can tell. But there is a highlight, so the path was enough. We also get clipped on the pad a little bit. All of a sudden, this is looking not great for Turnout.
Dells often sees bug paths very well and isn't sure if they're bugs or not, but absolutely will highlight for the path at the very least.
Red test on the first inspect, by the way. Sorry to cut you off, but this means we are not going to be able to finish it without doing a ton of cycles. And we put it back down.
That's a 3 cycle into a bad put down, into not taking the briefcase at our feet. If Dells is paying attention to this, we could be a dead spy walking here.
All right, well, we're going to go and add time before the 1 minute mark. It's probably a desperation move that was necessary. Now, the thing is, because we're clearly there for at least 2 cycles, and we get pushed in this conversation. Oh, no, we want to be in here for the double agent. But it's going to put us in this interesting position of going back to statues at some point, which could actually be a little bit of a, oh, I know, this is enough for a shot.
The stop talk.
So we're credited with the bug, we're credited with the inspect. We probably just had to assume seduction was done, and we were in a conversation with the banana bread. It all lines up. We weren't actually finished, but there was enough information that Dells had enough threat onto Iris to take the shot. And we got 2-3.
Dells is typing, really interested to see what he says. Yeah, highlight for bug path, then I use center statues as a crutch and pray that the banana bread shows me someone hitting white and stop talking afterwards. So obviously couldn't know that we only actually got 2 inspects from the red tab. Just the combination of suspicion adding up again. Dells playing a more behavioral combination of everything style, and instead of looking at only 1 or 2 things. Definitely one of his assets as a new player to Oak this season.
And that mix is going to come in handy, especially on these first 2 maps. It's a little bit necessary on Gallery and Ballroom. Being large, any 4 of 8 maps. Any 4 of 8 maps, you kind of have to make 1 or 2 assumptions about the way that they play the game in order to be able to guard it correctly. It's a little bit tougher for pure campers, as opposed to one of the any 5 of 8 maps that stretch their limits a little bit, but putting a lot for them to look out for on Modern and Library and Veranda. But any 4 of 8 maps, it's good to take a little bit of trust, a little leaps of faith, like we saw Turnout do, as well as Dells. So far, it's been a pretty close set, though. And also, the types of shots that they're taking have tended to be a little bit nervous, which makes me think that we're going to see some close gameplay the rest of the set. Unless someone breaks out in one of the later maps, but we'll have to see.
Yes, indeed. So in this game, we've started off with a very common pattern of close flirt into close flirt again, 85% green test, white test. Now we've headed off to side statues with a fingerprint at this statue as well. Pearl's going to be picking up the briefcase behind us, but we're going to be watching Smallman here for another fingerprint opportunity soon. Yeah, there's going to be one on these books here most likely, so after we finish up this flirt, would not be surprised at all to see Dell's heading over to that green bookshelf.
All right, well, we can just pick up a fingerprint. We're looking around a little bit for a possible DA moment here coming in. The DA does join us. We could do a banana bread into a purloin. We decided to just take a drink. I didn't actually catch to see if that was fingerprintable. It kind of doesn't seem like it if we were at statues before. Or, sorry, bookcases before.
No.
And we're waiting. We're kind of letting this conversation simmer. Oh, and the bug.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful reverse drive-by at the back of a conversation there.
Banana
was
bread.
not visible on the sniper side at all. Here's now going to be the banana bread.
So now the question is, you're in this position. Do we like inspect or fingerprint to finish? I kind of like inspect better. But either way is going to work. Because either way, you're leaving mission progress on the table and telling the sniper, hey, I'm not going to... I wouldn't not finish fingerprint or not finish inspects. Come on, who am I?
We have to gulp our drink here in preparation for taking this fingerprint on green books. That's the one thing that could potentially come back to bite us. But otherwise, I think this is maybe the cleanest finish that we've seen all set so far here. Yeah, Turnout's laser over on Pearl's at statues. This is completely clean. Going to be a spy win from Dells, our first mission completion of the set.
And Tells takes it back up to 3-3. And yeah, like you were saying, clean game. There wasn't that much information given out there for Turnout to make the big jumps that jumps in logic that he had made on Gallery. Wasn't able to narrow down the party. And so when the bug went off, there are still tons of highlights running around all over the place. It was well set up. So good patience from Dells. Also, Dells was in a position that you do need to be very conscious of on Ballroom because there's a high pathing density. I can't wait. Someday there's going to be analytics that come out that show the pathing densities on these maps, and there's going to be all sorts of bugging setups. Like, we know some of the obvious ones, like the back of that conversation in Ballroom, or some of the spots on Veranda, but I think there's other ones out there that haven't been found yet. Anyway, I'm going on a little bit too long. We're jumping in where Turnout's going to try to respond on his own spy here as White Dress. Was that Dells that was White Dress before? A lot of slow characters so far this set. And an immediate bug. Helicopters. I think we're dead.
Yeah, that's just seen. That's just shot. Dells does play full random, does not select the ambassador, does not select the cast, just hits the random button and lets it go. Little bit of an unpopular choice. I see a lot of players at least picking larger ambassadors, Taft, Cowboy, often pretty good choices there. But there is definitely something to be said for full random in terms of throwing the opponent off. You can't just look for the giant pink suit of Cowboy or the giant brown figure of Taft to easily ascertain where the ambassador is. You have to actually highlight the ambassador and look for them if you want to see those bugs. And sometimes the ambassador is Smallman, and Smallman walks through the back of the conversation on Ballroom and gets bugged, and you can't see it at all. So yeah, definitely some little bit of randomness paying off for Dells in that one. Talking about the previous game here, because there's not much to analyze about that last one. The helicopter bug, as obviously as that game, you're just going to get shot.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part is, I don't even know how obvious the initial part of the bug was. It was definitely there, but we sort of sealed our fate by helicoptering. Even just giving up and not getting credit on the bug. And if we gave it a shot and we didn't get it, that would have been better, I think, than trying to bend back our path and then just making it as apparent as possible that the bug had occurred. And we had mentioned that from the very first game, right when Ambassador came up next to us in Gallery, that Turnout is known for those second aggressive plays, but unfortunately does not work for him. And so now he finds himself at this first deficit of the match.
Yes, we didn't actually see much of that aggression from Turnout on Gallery, but on Ballroom, there it is, and it does get punished. Unfortunately, Dell's not quite making it onto the pad with the seduction target at the start there, so that's not actually a starting flirt. Invisible as a missed pad, though. You have to assume that that is on the pad on the sniper side, so it's not going to be shot, but it does hurt not to have that early progress.
All right, well, we step into a pretty innocent conversation, and we're going to go grab a book. And I don't believe Ambassador's been here yet. So this is something that I'd like to see just more in general. Okay, interesting. Now we're next to the Ambassador. So we've gone away. Okay, so we're not going to try any weird shenanigans with that one. But there could be something that we try to do. Oh, we just do a green trust right in the middle of the room.
Empty conversation, green microfilm, while the sniper is rotating behind a pillar, completely invisible. Oh, don't go to the blue bookshelf, though. Yeah. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. It's actually the painting pad next to the blue shelf, but oh, my heart jumped into my throat just a little bit there. No, 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 Dels. You got the microfilm out. Just put it back correctly. Take it easy now. There we go.
All right, well, we'll be putting this back in here. So we do have half the microfilm done, but we do have a lot of things left to do. And one thing I do appreciate about this play is if you're going to be doing that sort of cheese, you're just doing the microfilm in the middle of the room. It's better to do it before you pick up any sort of highlighting. And, ooh, that bug doesn't take. I'm shocked. And we see frustration shakes coming out of Dells. I agree. The Ambassador took a ridiculous path to get to us, and we still didn't get the bug off. And we take another bug attempt. That was on camera. We're dead.
Oh, that was just on camera. I think maybe the first arm was actually visible on the sniper camera as well, but maybe Turnout's eyes not quite there. But that second one, oh, can't ignore that.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is something that happens to players, especially me. A little bit of tunnel vision there from Dells, a little bit of frustration. We didn't get the bug that we thought that we deserved, and we keep going for it when the opportunity wasn't right. If we were in that position and ignored the missed bug from before, we probably wouldn't take that bug. Not with the sniper's positioning, that is. And so a little bit of a miscalculation there upon where the sniper was, because it was very apparent on the screen. I think we even tried twice more on that. And Bug's story of spies getting shot on Ballroom. And especially Ballroom, you can get off great bugs. Like, we saw a fantastic bug by Dills on Ballroom. You don't need to force the issue. So a little bit unfortunate there, especially when we had a great start on Microfilm. But regardless, we are 4-4 heading into Modern.
Yeah, just a little bit too much greed there, but we head into Modern. This is Dell's pick. He feels comfortable here. He's told us he's going to be watching the Time of Chaos on Modern, especially being prepared for that early aggression that Turnout is known. Turnout starting us off as Kane here.
He goes straight for that bookshelf.
Ooh, right out of the red books, yes. Is this going to go somewhere else immediately?
Well, not immediately, but see, okay, so just like what you were saying before, so let's say you have a reputation for knowing that people watch your rushes a little bit. Where do you look at first? You look at Ambassador, you look at Statue, you look at Purloin. Those are the ones you're going to be focusing on. Books is one of the less popular rushes. So we're hoping that our own reputation makes them nervous about other locations on the map, and we'll see if we get away with it. I really hope that this is just a rush into another thing. Hopefully it's not just a book grab. Although I think that because we broke etiquette to get the book out, I think we are going to be dumping this off somewhere else.
So it looks like Dell's taking some highlights for bar and statues here, maybe some flirt pairing. Turnout also doing a white time ad out at the windows and then not going for the briefcase that we were standing right on top of. Interesting to see.
Also, yeah, you're seeing exactly what I was seeing. So we step a little bit too far from seduction target, a pixel away from where we'd actually need to be to get that 100%. Unforced error, unfortunately, sometimes it comes down to things as small as that. We might be going for banana bread and dump, which would actually be fantastic if there's other seduction. Oh, no, sorry. No banana bread for us. They leave in the middle, but maybe a consolation prize by getting this book in with seduction target. We do go for a different bookcase than our seduction target, and this is a big moment right here. The laser is coming over, but
Are
it's still
we
low
on top
light
of it?
salmon.
It is to low light salmon and then bring salmon back up to a highlight. Not sure what that was about, but we have put the book back in incorrectly, gotten our microfilm transfer done, and looks like we are heading,
Yeah,
trying to maybe chase seduction target, but ST is going out to the corner, middle of nowhere.
yeah, we don't need to be forcing the seduction target yet. We'll be able to get that talk off. We need to be getting the. Oh, we miss a pad. A lot of little missed pads. Like, so far, there's been a little bit of. So we weren't quite close enough to ST. We missed the pad, and I think both players have actually missed pads on ballroom, if I'm not mistaken. So a little bit of I want to say jitters, but that might be the caster me reading into this too much. And it's when it's not necessary quite yet. We still need to get a lot more done on this map. Now, that said, we had added time, so we're going to be probably okay on pacing, especially when Turnout could do a late rush at any point. But we do need to get that seduction done.
I think the mispad may have been seen there, as we did get highlight for that statue visit.
Banana bread.
Dells, unlike a lot of newer players, does not rote highlight just for your first statue visit on Modern. He saves the highlight for the second statue visit, or if he's seen something that's actually suspicious. So we might be in more trouble than Turnout8 might think right here. There's our banana bread as well. Here's our going into bar and finishing up our flirt here. Could pick up a purloin. We could just reject the drink and walk away to do something else.
Also interesting to note that the salmon was in with a DA, and then the conversation on the right side of the map had no DA in it, and Dells went ahead and assumed real, so a handful of lowlights there, gonna pay off. We do have quite a few. We got a pretty good mix of. We got 4 highlights, looks like about 5 neutral lights, and like 7 or 8 lowlights. So a good mix into the party. So right now this is still kind of even. It's kind of hard to tell which is going to win. Even though we got away with the transfer early on, it looks like clean. The second statue visit's going to be pretty big. And whatever else we're going to do besides that, we could do an inspect swap perhaps, but that's a bit on the nose.
Well, we have picked up the option to delegate purloin here. Looks like we wanted to head over and send it to the one person in that conversation, which would have been disastrous as it was an SDA, but the SDA just left the conversation, and so Turnout8 was forced into idling there for a little bit. Now sending it off to Teal here, but Teal has a book in her hands. I don't think this purloin is going to come off in time, but what it does for us is for Teal to go back and shove the book back into the shelf, breaking etiquette a little bit. That's what happens when you delegate purloin to somebody with a book. But Teal's already a low light, and the delegate timer does expire, so no actual progress is going to be coming out of that. Turnout just going to go back in for the second statue visit. 10 seconds left to play. It's got to be inspect swap. That's the only thing left here.
So we're right now, we have it on screen. It's going to be a green swap. Okay, so this is a bit dicey. So there's really no one that could have time added. Maybe you could think that Orange Dress did, but Orange Dress came into it right at 0 seconds. So it is swap or it is purloin. And unfortunately, we are going to bug for it, but Dells is all over it.
Bug. Yeah.
I do agree with the idea, though. I think we did need to do that. The swap was going to get us killed. But we might have well just done like a walking bug or try to throw in something there. It was a long delay on the green swap, so we did have a bit of time to plan something out. But it does not work out in the end. I'm going to chalk it up to the reliance on purloin at the end there. You're totally right. We delegated to Teal, who had a book, who did do a lot of wonky, strange things at the bookcase, but it does not matter because she was low lit.
And Dells with the post-match commentary there. Phew, I didn't know who it was, but then I thought, bug covering up for green swap is going to be the finish here, and that's exactly what happened. This is one of the things that Dells is really strong at. If he is onto you, he is very, very, very good at creating a narrative and seeing into the spy's mind and predicting what you're going to do next. And if you do it, you're going to get shot.
All right, well, we're going to see if Dells has any better luck. It is going to be a bit of a shame for Turnout because their calculated aggression at the beginning of the game did get us in the position that looked pretty strong, but we just didn't have the finish really. And I wonder if that'll be a problem for Turnout, who on the 4 of 8 maps, an early aggression gets you a quarter of the way there. And on any 5 of 8 maps, it's actually a lot less because that pretty much means you have 2 hardtails, where it gets away with the 1 hardtail you need on Ballroom. And on a Modern, it only gives you 1 of 2 hardtails that you really need to get done. Dells is camera shaking. I don't know what at for.
Well, we were picking up the seduction target and contact double agent start here. Looks like we were shaking our head at the DA leaving, but the ST is standing next to us, so I'm not actually sure what Dells is frustrated about.
It might have been an accidental BB. Maybe we were trying to flirt instead. I wasn't looking at which one we did first. We got a solid amount of lowlights, but not an incredible amount. We are going for the transfer.
It's a fake bookshelf, though. This is not the correct shelf. This book came out of blue. It's going back into... Is Turnout on top of it? Doesn't really look like it. Looks like we were just watching Twin at the statues over there, and then our attention moved elsewhere. So that's a hardtail complete. And as you say, on these 5 of 8s, you need 2 hardtails, or you need all the soft tails and fingerprint. Thinking back on that last game again, I was really, really surprised that Turnout8 didn't pick up the briefcase, didn't go for fingerprints at all. That may have been a factor that made the difference here. We'll see if Dells goes for some fingerprints here.
And also interesting to note that Turnout had actually added time too, so we had time for something like fingerprint. I mean, also, I mean, like sometimes as casters we concentrate this a little too much just because it's kind of funny. But the 99% on the seduction target threw a wrench in our timing. Before that 99%, we were flying on mission progress, and then that hiccup just caused all sorts of headaches for us down the road.
Here we go, though. This is a fingerprintable drink. It was actually cooked for a little while as well. Getting very lucky there to have the ambassador be the last one at bar for a while, so it's not as suspicious as immediately going into the bar. Again, I don't see much of a reaction from Turnout here. No highlight, nothing coming on to General for this. We're sending off our Purloin to Cowboy here. If this comes off, this could be a critical moment, but Orange Dress just gets shot.
All right, I'm gonna try to grab the replay before it goes over and try to figure out what happened with Orange Dress. Okay.
What did she do? Dells in chat also bewildering, saying, "Oh, I'm spared. That's cool. I have a lead? Well, cool, I guess. But it's Tayen now, isn't it? No, it's Aquarium next. Aquarium
All right.
is our next venue here."
As far as I could tell from my very brief look, that was Orange's first statues. I didn't want to miss the next game, so I didn't stay in it too long. But from me scrubbing through the timeline, yeah, there just must have just been a ton of suspicion on Orange because she didn't have all that much threat, as far as I can tell. Well, I mean, regardless, we are, if I am correct, at 6-4 Dells. So we do need to pick up 3 wins as opposed to Turnout, who needs to pick up 4. So the lead is a little bit smaller than you might think, but it is quite a big lead, and we're going to be going into Aquarium, which anything can happen in here.
Yeah, Dells actually at advantage here if it goes back 1-for-1. Chat filling us in here saying that Orange Dress had Prince in that previous game with a briefcase and a fingerprintable drink in close succession. So Turnout8 may be suspecting the fingerprints a little too much. And we're going to start us off on Aquarium with a green time ad at the front from Turnout8, followed by a bug. Or a bug attempt. I thought that was going to take, but it doesn't. We're not dead for it, though.
So we start off with the rush here. So also, time ads particularly strong on Aquarium because every time ad you get means another few passes of the shark, and that just creates all sorts of problems for the. Oh, we're flashing on Seek immediately. I'm not sure what for. We see. Wait, no. No, maybe this was just a saying, if I see a purloin, it is Seek. But now Seek is brought down to neutral light. Not sure what that's all about. But what I do know is we have a ton of highlights on this map, and I'm not sure what for. Maybe they're just to track purloin. I don't know enough about Dell's playstyle to know if that's true or not.
Yes, yes, Stills was just talking about this. He's very uncomfortable with Aquarium because Aquarium bar rushes trip him up a lot. He likes to highlight everybody in these early bar rushes and then try to juggle the highlights off of them, but finds that a difficult task sometimes. It looks like we have escaped the early pressure, though. The bar is clear. The bug didn't take. Here's our contact on the double agent, knocking out a couple of these statue visitors. Dell's going to take the assume real as well, it looks like. Low light the right side conversation, at least most of the people in there. Not Pearls just yet.
We don't get the difficult fingerprint test. We might be going for a purloin. We've stayed at this bookcase for a little bit too long, but I think we're waiting for Shark right now. And here we go. Indeed, we have the transfer right now. Going to be completely invisible. And we break animation, but we're behind the Shark. Does not matter. And I think that Dells, if you're uncomfortable on the map, low lighting for no DA and combo, it's pretty good at getting the party down to a manageable size, but we are still not high-lit as Spy. We still need to do microfilm plus a couple more toxes with our seduction target, but I think we're actually in a pretty good position. As long as we don't do anything too totally aggressive that gets us shot, I think we might even have a miss shot at some point.
We have actually passed up 2 opportunities to bug the ambassador behind cover of the Shark, once while we were walking away from the bookshelf, and now again here as the ambassador stands very close to us in this conversation. It's not quite within standing bug range, I don't think, but it would have been within range for a twitch behind the Shark had we gone for it. We don't, though. It looks like we're just going to stand here and timer flirt to finish up our seduction here.
Turnout does not know that these boots were meant for walking, but the walking bugs behind the Shark might give away just by looking at the legs. Now, the problem with this ambassador is the ambassador is not moving anywhere. This is going to create problems for Turnout in that, okay, we do go for the bug with no Shark cover directly to the bar. The arm was not the most visible, but the path was a little bit off, and really, if Dells was looking enough, I think we could have caught it, especially because nothing else was really going on. Watching Ambassador is really the only thing we had to do.
The bug does take. We've gotten a drink, though, which is very interesting since we have half our microfilm in the pocket and only about a minute left to play here. We do still need to find a 4th mission. Contact, Seduce, and Bug, the 3 fastest, already done.
All right, we are going to just drink this drink very quickly, and then grab our microfilm. We are trying to get this microfilm before the Shark comes, so we are grabbing it right now. We do it a little early. We are not seen, though. This looks like it's going to be a win for Turnout. Laser's moving a little bit. No, we're not. We're watching Alice.
Zooming in at statues. This is clean. This is a Spy win for Turnout. Missions completed successfully. There we go. Aquarium does indeed deliver on its promise of terrifying.
All right, well, Turnout brings it to... Yeah, I don't blame him at all. Like, I'm very confused by Aquarium and very lost. And Dells actually didn't do the worst job of trying to narrow down the party by taking some leaps, but it wasn't quite enough. And even we're not able to capitalize on the microfilm that was too early. That arm was very visible, and we were just a couple seconds ahead of the curve. And so we actually had a little bit of a mechanical problem, but it was not caught. And we're just gonna we're just rushing the bug. All right. And it takes. We'll see if the path is sufficient at all.
Time of chaos right behind the Shark. Everything lines up perfectly for Dells there. Dells also filling us in a little bit on the safety off on Seek in the previous game. Seek got to a statue very quickly, and Dells hadn't memorized it and thought Seek might have swapped the statue.
Gotcha.
But he didn't.
So he could have been concerned about a super rush of a swap into a Purloin, all kind of stuff, but then was willing to neutral item after the Purloin didn't go off, I assume.
Yes, indeed. No Purloin, and then C just stood in that conversation all game. Very fortunate. Meanwhile, over here we have Double Agent and Seduction Target, the 2-for-1 in this conversation. We just have to talk and take our contact before they leave. It's green. It's nice.
All right, well, we're probably going to stick around just long enough to get our next Seduction. Hopefully brings us up to about 50%. If we get a green, we should be above 50%, I think. We do not get the green, though, so we're at 44%. At least 2 more talks, but that's not going to be the end of the world. But what are we going to do in the meantime? If Dells thinks we've gotten away with the bug cleanly enough, we might be willing to do the 2 inspects, but we got to do something. We're looking around. When I see spies do that full 360 where they just look around, they're kind of begging for the party to tell them to do something. Or they're just like going to get the lay of it, which actually looks like it's gonna be more of that, where we know we're gonna stick around. No, oh, I am not reading Dell's mind very well right now, because I thought we were gonna be sticking around for the next flirt, get above 50%, then hopefully come back a little bit closer later, but we do not. Instead, we go for the book, and at a time where the shark is not gonna be covering us for a long time, so we're probably just gonna be taking this out.
Yeah, maybe was hoping to go back in next to the Seduction Target there, but the Ambassador actually takes the spot. Looks like we're going to go to the back and try to animation microfilm here, but the Ambassador again joins us, so that plan has to be canceled. No way the sniper's not looking over there now. All right, now we're going to head back next to the Seduction Target like we originally wanted to and hit the green test, 95% flirt. Not 100%, but it's good enough. Any flirt will do now.
All right, well, we got to do something with this book. Now, one of the things is because we weren't in the most suspicious position earlier, we could just do a direct microfilm, which is a little bit rarer on Aquarium because action test microfilms are so much more possible due to the shark passing through. But we got to do something. It looks like we are going to timer flirt for the final part. This is a bit of a risk. If Orange leaves, we're in a real tough spot because we're not going to have much time to do that final mission. Then again, it is Aquarium. We can rush something at the end if we need to, but we're putting a lot on Seduction Target staying put. And it works.
She does. Yeah, we had nearly 3 minutes after the first 2 missions, now down to about 45 seconds. But Orange Dress stays in place. We finish our Seduce. Now we're going to have to opt to dump this book in blue. Yeah, looks like that is the plan. Is Turnout on top of it?
It does not look like it. I mean, otherwise, I mean, we can... Wait. Oh, we do get the highlight, and that is not a shot. And I guess, well, unless we break animation here, it looks like we're going to be clean. We're going to be putting the book back in at 12 seconds. There will be no overtime. And it looks like Dells is going to take this one.
A highlight. Turnout suspects, but suspicion isn't enough. Dells brings it home with a mission win and escaping Aquarium with the 1-1 split of spy wins.
Given what you said before, I imagine that Dells is perfectly fine with that and perfectly willing to go into the next games with a little bit of a lead. Now again, Turnout only needs to get 3 wins. But Dells only needs 2, so Dells still does have the advantage, and so Turnout needs to step in with something, but a little bit closer than it might look given the advantage that the higher-ranked players have with ties.
5-7 is a score that you have to be feeling pretty good about as Dells, though, especially now that you have escaped the shark. Now we're going on to, I believe, High Rise?
Looks like it.
3 out of 5, something that we haven't seen yet in this match.
And something that Turnout tends to be either really good at or really bad at. Now, I know that's not very much information, but being an aggressive spy it kind of puts you in an odd position on High Rise, because sometimes you can just wait and someone will get shot. And you didn't have to do anything aggressive at all. But sometimes it means if you get a bug past someone and you just contact Seduce, it's over.
Dells says, oh god, when victory is in reach, suddenly I have to try, and I chose a 3 out of 5. Maybe I should wake up and stay alert. Yes, Dells, you should wake up. So should Turnout. Turnout spying first here. Interesting to see what missions people pick, whether they opt for the double soft tells of inspect statues and fingerprints, or whether they opt to turn on something like Purloin. Looks like Turnout does have Purloin on, and we are creating the game, so that's going to be the mission selection here. Is Purloin on and inspect statues off? Very interesting.
So one thing that this tells me is that inspect is the most comfortable mission on this map, because you have at least that they have to go to the middle statue on the right side or visit statues twice. It's a little bit comfortable for snipers as far as assessing the level of threat. So maybe Turnout knows that Dells might be a little bit willing to shoot early if they get flustered. It's a little bit easier to fluster people if you don't have inspect on. Now inspect is a great tool if you're comfortable with framing, because all you have to do is watch the people that visit statues and you have great frame targets. But Turnout being a little bit aggressive, maybe just focuses. Oh, okay, we get brought back up. I was gonna say we might have just been handed something free there with that low light, but instead we go into statues, and we're not gonna be picking up any specs, but we are getting a seduction that actually works out kind of well.
We actually need a little Facebook status here. Dells likes this mission setup. All caps. Don't forget Purloin. Don't forget Purloin. Don't forget Purloin. 3 times spammed in chat. Inspects are off. Dells knows what he has to watch here. Here's a green time ad, though. Are we watching for that?
Yeah, we'll
High-rise
see.
often called.
So the time ad is interesting.
At time.
Yeah, and say high rise is so strange with time ads because it sometimes can be so beneficial, but really it's less beneficial than normally would be, given that it's the inspects are off, because usually time ads are a great way to throw in a couple more highlights off of the inspects. But high rise also has a little bit of the time ad locations are very apparent. I kind of actually really wish that there was a time ad location added in the back right hand corner, a little secret one like we'll have like on library. But anyway. So the time ads are really easy to catch, so it's fantastic that we get the green, because otherwise it's very quick to narrow down who could have possibly done the time ad. But we get away with it, but I don't know how much it's actually going to give us.
Seeing no response here, almost no response from Toby. I was worried we were going to ignore him for a second there, but we don't. We just take the innocent drink and then start talking. Seduction target leaves, though. We've only got 34% on the flirt. Still, the time ad is going to help with this.
All right, well, double agents in with us. The conversation on the other side is brewing a little bit, but now it is just us. Now, see, the thing is, we almost have everybody in the conversation circle. If just the suspected double agent would join us, and Taft. Okay, we might just be willing to take this, though. Now that seduction tell, we might just take this. There's gonna be one low light, but this is great.
That was great. That was so fortunate that we waited for the SDA. I don't think we could have known that was the SDA, but we waited for the SDA to get back into the back conversation. If the SDA had been out for that contact, I think Turnout8 would have been in a ton of trouble.
We do pick up a highlight, though. We're one of only 2, though.
This is the thing that you absolutely cannot do against Dells. We actually saw it a couple of times from both players in the set. You cannot enter a conversation and talk quickly as a suspect. Dells hates that above all other things. And that fast talk plus 2 sips in quick succession to get rid of the drink. I think Dells is onto this from Rocker here.
And it's going to be really tempting to go ahead and just go over and talk again. We might even just get shot here. If we caught on to that middle flirt and then we finish the flirt right here, this is pretty suspicious, and we still have to do one more thing. We know we're not gonna get fingerprint done. There's no way we get fingerprint done there. If we get in a totally invisible bug, we might be okay. But honestly, even a green Purloin probably gets a shot unless it happens to be someone like Wheels that's already been highlit.
Yeah, with 2 fast talks, I have to think that Dells is fully on top of the Rocker action here, but knows that she doesn't have anything else done. Pretty sure that she didn't bug. Purloin hasn't been taken yet. She definitely hasn't gotten any fingerprints. Probably knows that flirt is done.
Oh, but the surprise shot on Wheels? Okay, I didn't get it in time. The autoplay, it's a double-edged sword. Now, what could that possibly have been for? So I mean, obviously there was everybody except for Taft was given credit for the banana bread, but I don't know what else it really could have been. Maybe fingerprints. I wasn't tracking them, so that
It's
could
a
have been a
bug
possibility.
path.
Bug path. All right.
Bug path out of wheels at the end. Is Dells thought that he had to shoot for it. Says, I knew it was Rocker, beating myself up. I'm mad at myself. Well, he'll have to keep his nerves together on the spy side here. We'll see if he changes the mission setup and puts inspects on. Right now, he's still ranting at me in Discord.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably a bit nice to be able to a little bit of a stress relief because, like, when you feel that, but you can't tell anybody how mad you are at yourself, it is murder sometimes. It looks like we are going to swap out the purloin for inspect. The traditional swap and the swap and microfilm is pretty much always off in high rise, but we go for inspect instead of purloin. And the thing is, though, it did work a little bit last time where we were worried about the aggression because it turned up the possibility of aggression on Dells, and it did happen to bite us.
Well, the purloin wound up not happening, but the bug always something that you have to watch out for on high rise. Ooh, Dells is Smallman here as well. Oh, this is cheeky. Dells, you cheeky person, you. Same statue pad with the seduction target for a 51% flirt. Takes a highlight for it and then unhighlights back to neutral.
Yeah, big moment. I think that we might have just gotten a guilt by association center statue highlight, but it is taken back. And we could just go try to get that other seduction target. But 2 out-of-conversation flirts might be a bit much, and so Dells thinks better of it, and instead looks to be watching where Ambassador is going, and Ambassador is going to be leaving a fingerprint on green bookshelf.
This is, again, how much the game can change if you know somebody's style intimately. If Dells did that, I would shoot him. That is such a Dells move. He does that center statue, same statue pad with the seduction target as a starter all the time. But Turnout hasn't played Dells that much, so he doesn't know about it.
All right, well, if we get another person into our left right here, we might have a good opportunity for a bug when Ambassador decides to leave, but there's not going to be much of it. Dells does not go for it, which is probably wise, even though it's so tempting to go for the reverse drive-bys as Smallman, but we probably would have been dead for it. We're offered a drink here. We do take it. I don't actually recall if that is fingerprintable. I don't believe so. I think we haven't really touched fingerprints much. Now, we do have a drink in our hand, so this is interesting. If we didn't have a drink in our hand, we're actually... Okay, right as I say that, I think that it's confirmed where Turnout zooms in on the drink in the hand of Dells to confirm that it wouldn't have been a bug on entry because the hand was taken up. We don't get anything for it, but I think we might have been dead if we did that same exact path without a drink in our hands.
Dells is so Dells. This is another thing that he loves to do on high rise is do missions that aren't on or aren't quite possible. Say, hey, look, I'm getting fingerprints when prints are off. I'm going to statues when inspects are off. I'm standing by the ambassador with a drink in my hand. I'm not suspicious.
The classic active versus passive idling. We don't actually get credit for it, but maybe Turnout is mentally going to be writing off Smallman a bit more because it was a suspicious thing that was very obvious. Now, see, the second banana bread is going to knock out Wheels, which is a big highlight from early on in the game. But we have so many highlights left.
That may have been accidental on the second one. I'm not sure if Dells actually meant to do that. Yes, he gulps the drink now, which makes me think that maybe he was just trying to gulp the drink earlier. We don't know. We'll find out. Still, though, it's down to about 45 seconds left. Seduce is done, but we do still need to find 2 missions, and having fired off 2 fakes, it's going to be very difficult to take a real contact now.
So one of the problems with the mission setup that we do have is that there's not really that many ways to induce a shot except for, we do bug on the way in. I think that's going to be enough. We're flashing bullets, and he does it eventually, take the shot. So I think that Turnout was pretty nervous in that game, but there wasn't much much we could do to force shots. One of the big things that I think did come out to bite us was the second banana bread that knocked out Wheels, who was at center statue, a highlight from early in the game, at center statue near the end of the game. I think that Turnout took a very comfortable low line in that position. I think you might be right that that might have been a total mistake, and I would imagine if it was a mistake, we'll be hearing about it from Dells very soon.
Oh, Dells confirms that it was not a mistake. He was really hoping for somebody to get shot on those double fake BBs. And when it didn't happen, he didn't really have a game plan after that point. Still kicking himself about that sniper game on high rise, feels that he should have won that, but he has to close it up on the nerves here and take both of these games on Taeyeon to close out the set. Turnout now on match point will have the set complete if he wins either one of these games.
Yeah, so this is and I know exactly how Dells felt when they questioned their pick of High Rise earlier on, or at least they regretted it. I don't know about questioning it. They regretted their pick of High Rise because High Rise is definitely one of those maps that you can lose an easy 0-2 on and then get reset back to, rather than like he would have loved like a courtyard at that position just to push out the match point a little bit further, a nice comfortable match, but instead High Rise actually ends up being late picks a lot in our drafts. And it's a really hard map to play while stressed. But anyway, speaking of hard maps to play while stressed, we're going to be jumping to Taeyeon for the match points.
Taeyeon is a crazy place where anything can happen. We do luckily get probably the most advantageous side shoji setup for Dells here on the sniper side. All three over on the books, the statue side completely clear. So that's a little bit of luck. Turnout spying here as Salmon not really doing anything early. Again, not seeing the famous Turnout early aggression.
Yeah, well, I'm curious. The thing about like Taeyeon is that the normal types of aggression sometimes don't work as well as the Taeyeon types of aggression. And I've learned that distinction only because it works really well against me, that I can't really map up aggression that well. And we're also not getting some of the pathing lowlights that we could have gotten in general right there, so that's going to bite us a little bit, because those are some of the greatest ones to pick up. Then again, we could probably trust Turnout to be able to do those as well. And I would love to see Turnout do microfilm on Taeyeon. I don't think it's done nearly enough, but what do I know? I'm terrible at it.
Doing it.
Although I was gonna say
on screen though.
I was gonna say but not that way. Not an action test one where there's not someone blocking you, because it's actually more obvious than a normal map. To me, at least, seeing the silhouette of someone's arms moving is way more obvious to me than it is on a normal map. But if somebody's literally standing in the way, where it does makes it flat and just black, it's pretty good. Or just taking more direct transfers, honestly. But anyway, our play does not work, and we take a loss, and now this is it. This is the game for all of it. This determines who's going to walk away from this with a win and who's going to be going up. So right now, Turnout is only playing for gatekeeping right now, as we said at the beginning of the cast, but Dells would love to be able to keep a win streak here going and maybe get up to possibly be with Turnout in silver if we're able to win this, and I believe the next one, maybe another one after that, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, Dells guaranteed at least bronze if he wins this final game here. Looks like we are going to have a BRB from Dells, going to take a break, splash a little water on the face, drink some water down your throat.
All right.
Taeyeon is a shrine. It's not a theater. You can't just flail your arms behind the screens like that with the shadows in full view.
Yeah, and the other unfortunate thing about it is sometimes you can just do nothing on Taeyeon and win, because sometimes shots have to go off. So I can't imagine the excitement that Dells had when they saw the clear tell, 100% knowledge of who the spy was. What a relief it would have been, or must have been at the moment. So I'm guessing that right now, Dells wasn't even trying to think too much before that, but now Dells has got to be, oh man, the stress levels for Dells right now are got to be off the chart. Especially having had a lead coming up into this and having to fight for match points.
All right, Dell's is back. Chat's correcting me. Dell's guaranteed at least copper, not actually guaranteed the bronze here. I got a little overexcited looking at the 2 wins in the tournament at Power Bracket. But here we are, final game, match point, both players. Dell's once again full random as Pearls, not a bad character on this venue at all, starting off with 23% on a nice, respectful cross-conversation flirt.
And we do have a pretty good shoji setup going on right here. As you had mentioned earlier on, we might have felt shoehorned into that microfilm because there was the sojis on the left-hand side. Especially when you have the 3 soji on the left-hand side of the books, that middle soji just doing nothing for you. So pretty happy to see it scattered in this map on this time. And then, okay, so right now we're probably just going to be trying to play as cool as we can. Because one thing, like honestly, sometimes in competitive games, I just try to play the cleanest possible game in the last game, just so I have no regrets that haunt me at night. Because if I do something like if I try to do like that microfilm that Turnout did, I might be just kept awake in bed if I do something obvious and I just go for a big risk and then I regret it later. So Dell's taking it slow right now. Nothing to really fault him for yet.
Yes, indeed. Green banana bread going to help as well, and we're up to 60% on the flirt. Very nice progress, very comfortable time. 2 minutes left to play. In a reasonable position, maybe not the best position to get these tan, but not terrible, especially given Turnout, the sniper angles that Turnout is choosing to take. But the ambassador doesn't go to the back.
All right, so we do need to finish up our flirts. We're going to be going to a pretty inconspicuous spot in the front, kind of planning out what we're going to be doing right now. Our heart rate has to be pumping so much. Seduction target is bouncing around. We can't quite see where they're going to go. They are going to be going to conversation, but we start stepping in to set up our inspects. And shot comes off. There it is. It's just done.
Oh! Oh!
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I was able to pause the game before it ended. I do want to get a grasp of what happened. So first of all, Dells wins, gets the set on a wrong shot. Dells will be moving up.
Wins.
So that is a, what is that? Win-loss-win for Dells?
Win-loss-win. Yes, Dells will take copper even with a loss in week 4, and will take silver with a win in week 4. So copper or silver for Dells. Wow, wow, wow.
Wow. Well, yeah, also I did have the wrong score on the scoreboard. Sorry, that is 9-7 for Dells. So first of all, congratulations to Dells. But now I want to see why Duke got shot. Okay. I'm going to guess. So we had inspects early on. Talking. We did get at least one fingerprint. Oh, was that a second fingerprint? It looks like we had one fingerprint and 2 inspects. And that is enough for him to want to shoot. Yeah, and just a quick talk when he went back in. So just enough lined up on them to have enough suspicion and enough threat that Turnout felt the need to shoot. And Dells moves up.
The quick talk. Are you interested in a post-match interview here? I know Dells loves to do those. I'm not sure about Turnout.
I would be around for a quick one, but I gotta go pretty quick.
Oh, that's right. You have to go. That's right. You have to go. Okay. No interview then. I think we'll just call it here.
All right, fantastic. Well, congratulations to Dells, and well fought to Turnout. This was a pretty close fight. I was really curious if one player was just going to run away with this. Turnout, the tournament position has been so interesting to observe because there's a lot of cross divisional play. And so we get to see these odd pairings that we wouldn't normally get to see, and we get to see someone like Dells was an Oak, I want to say. Am I correct there?
Dells is indeed in Oak. Wasn't even slated to be in the tournament of position, was one slot below it, and got bumped up as a replacement at the absolute last minute, just 2 hours before having to play a week 1 match. Wasn't even expected to be here, and yet has done so well.
Well, fantastically done, and what a set. And also, like, first of all, My heart goes out to Dells for how much stress they must have had to endure to get that win. I'm really glad they took the time to go splash that water on their face before the final match. So it didn't actually end up. They just played a clean game, sort of like actually what I mentioned with the microfilm early on. Sometimes people just get shot on Taein, but we induced a shot on ourselves early on, removing that possibility, and in the end, that's enough. And so Dells can. He's also worried about it. Where if Dells lost, there's probably going to be some late nights where they were worried, where they're thinking about those high rise games and the high rise pick altogether. But we avoid that sort of pain. And yeah, so it looks like I see Dells will play the winner of Pox and Ducat. Ducat.
Yes, indeed. I think those two actually did a stealth match. Nobody even watched it. I have no idea what the results from that are going to be. So very excited to find out at the end of this week who Dells is going to be facing in week 4.